Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our series, Dasher Stories, presented in partnership with DoorDash. On the show, we're featuring students from around the country who are delivering food to you with DoorDash. And on today's episode, we're chatting to Ashley. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, good. Whereabouts are you based?
I'm in Melbourne, Victoria.
Okay, so a bit cooler than where I am in Perth.
Just a bit, yeah.
So tell us a bit about yourself. You told us that you're in Melbourne, Victoria, but what are you studying right now?
So right now I'm going into a cybersecurity TAFE with Melbourne Uni, and I just got out of high school last year, been dashing for about 10 months now.
Why did you decide to start dashing?
It was a little extra income on the side from my usual job, and after I quit, it was a bit of an in-between while I looked for work.
Was there someone that got you into dashing, or did you like see something on socials that made you want to take that next step and actually start?
No, I just got my license as soon as I could, and I had a bunch of free time, so I thought, what better way to use that than to go and make some extra money?
Yeah, absolutely. And what is your vehicle of choice to dash?
I drive a little sedan, a white Toyota.
It's a very cool vehicle of choice, I think. So tell me a little bit more about your experience dashing. When you first started, what was one of the first things that you learned that you found was really valuable to you?
There are definitely certain times of day and week that are more conducive to door dashing, and it's not always a thing about how long you're dashing for consecutively, but more about when are the busy times and effectively utilizing your time dashing.
That's really good advice. Can you give us some inside info? When's the best times to dash in Melbourne?
Oh, okay. Generally, especially in high school, I'd go Friday afternoons to nights, generally the busiest, although any time between Thursday and Sunday, you can generally find good work throughout the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you did start dashing, what was it like getting started? Was the process to become a dasher something you found easy?
It was very easy. The only hiccup I had was applying over Easter, so I had to wait the extra long weekend to get everything approved. But, going through the checks that I had to do, it was a breeze.
Yeah, I mean, I guess compared to a regular job, you can pretty much start dashing as soon as you sign up.
Yeah.
So you've gone from being a high school student to a university student this year. How do you find balancing dashing with studying and general life stuff? How does it fit into your schedule?
Well, since I'm doing a part-time at Melbourne, I find it a lot easier to fit everything into my schedule. Not doing many hours a week in study leaves me a lot of free time to go and catch up with friends and do some work on the side. Generally, again, on the weekends, since it's the easiest time to make money, I try and keep my studies to early week where it's not so busy on DoorDash, so I can fit in both good study time and good work time.
So you tend to dash on a weekend. Can you take me through a little bit of like a day in the life, like on a Saturday or a Sunday, waking up, and what your start and end of day looks like?
So it varies a lot from weekend to weekend. Sometimes there are promotions where you get an extra few dollars per delivery, and those range from different hours of the day. Some weekends there'll be like an extra $3 per delivery from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. or whatever. And that would mean that I get up 5:30, get ready for the day, drive out to a busy area and then start dashing. Other times I would get up maybe 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, do the lunch rush, have a little break between 3 and 4 o'clock, and then get back on for the dinner rush between about 5 to 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
And what was the first maybe big thing you saved up for when you started dashing?
Ooh, that's hard. I'm quite an avid saver. I tend to put around half of my paycheck since I'm still living at home into savings, so I don't have to spend too much money. But the first big thing I started was my vinyl collection. About halfway through last year, I thought, stuff it, I have quite a bit of money saved up and I've got nothing else I want to use it on. So I just went out, bought a bunch of vinyl records and a record player.
I love that. Sorry, side note. I actually bought my partner a record player like a few years ago, and he has now collected so many vinyls. So I know how it feels to save up for it. It's quite a pricey
Yeah.
thing to buy. Can you tell us some of the vinyl records you've got?
Oh, okay. My ex-partner had a lot of records in storage, so stuff from the Beatles, the Kinks, some Rammstein in there as well. So a big backlog catalog of those. I'm more into pop and hip hop myself. So I bought, the classics like Igor, MF Doom, um, and recently I've been getting into, what's another record I bought? Dochi's Alligator Bites Never Heal. It's coming out soon, so I've put a pre-order on that one.
Great, yeah, great choice. Can condone. So that's really cool. And when you've been dashing, have you personally discovered any really good food because you've picked up an order from somewhere that maybe you haven't gone before?
Oh, myself, not really, because in my zone, I'm very far out east. So whenever I do have to dash, I have to go more to the western side. So any good food I do come across, I rarely eat myself just because it's so far away from me. But if I am on break and I happen to be in a busy area that I know has some good food, I might pick up. I know I got a bit too much into Mad Mex when I was dashing, just because it's so quick and easy and it's delicious. I've also dabbled in some El Jinar out in Preston, so that was really nice.
Oh, okay. Give me some food for thought for lunch. Um, and give us a little bit of like inside info. Is there anything that you didn't know when you started dashing that now you know, and you're like, yeah, this is something interesting or something I didn't know that maybe future dashers should know?
One thing I can say is if you want a bit more of a filled out kind of dash, you should go for the shop and dash deliveries where you go into Coles or some other retail supermarket and do the shopping for other people. I tend to find it a lot more laid back than having to be on the road all the time or like getting a bit antsy in the fast food lines because you have to wait a while. I find that I get to do it at my own pace, which can either be a bit slower or a lot faster, depending on my energy for the day. I feel like if you are in the position to take those, you should definitely try and take those more often.
Yeah, great advice. And have you got any other bits of advice for anyone who's maybe interested in starting to dash for themselves but haven't started yet? What advice would you give them?
Um, I would definitely recommend to, take some breaks and often don't burn yourself out because at the end of the day, 90% of your job is driving. So you have to take extra care with your energy levels and your awareness of everything around you. And also to not get so caught up in the hourly rates, I guess you would calculate from how much money you're making, because it's a lot more complicated than that. It's you're looking at how much you're using your vehicle and the fuel you're using, and all of that takes a lot bigger precedence than just your base hourly rate.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there anything else that you wanted to add that maybe I haven't touched on?
One thing I definitely recommend is to make sure you've got a bit of cash stockpile just for regular maintenance and your fuel and insurance. Because if you don't have something like that built up in the back, then it can really easily catch up on you. And when you're out for that $1,000 for insurance or a couple $100 for maintenance, it can really spook you and get on your nerves a little bit.
Oh, well, thank you so much for spending your time with me today, Ashley. And thank you to everyone who has tuned into this episode of Dasher Stories. You can check out more episode of our Dasher Stories series on YouTube and on your favorite streaming platforms. And you can learn more about becoming a Dasher on our Dash Campus Hub and on our website, studentedge.org, where you'll also find all of our articles, videos, and more. Thanks so much, Ashley. Have a good one.
No worries, you too.